Righto, welcome to episode 1 of This Week in Downhill. This week we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's happened the last couple of months, not just this week, to sort of kick off this idea, this series of videos. But yeah, the idea is going to be we'll go through what happened this week in downhill. Obviously, probably the biggest thing in skating to happen this week was the Dirt Farm Freeride down in Virginia. I attended, it was super fun. It rained, it was wet, but we had a great time, so we'll talk about that first. Yeah, Dirt Farm Freeride was a freeride held at a brewery called the Dirt Farm Brewery. They have this really steep road that had sort of like a roller coaster lumps to it, and then the top got really windy. The road was much steeper than everyone thought from watching the videos and seeing the photos. Once we actually got there, it was quite a bit steeper in person, which made it a little extra spicy with it being wet. Luckily, it didn't actually rain the whole day. It just kind of was foggy and misty, and so it stayed wet, but it wasn't actively raining. So the skaters didn't get too wet, and the road stayed wet, which is better than getting patchy. The pavement actually wasn't too slippery. No one was really having too much trouble. Most people who were there skating actually had a great time, and a lot of people were riding rain wheels. I was riding shark wheels, which seems to be like the new thing to do in the rain. They're really effective, so that was really cool. Camping was included with the event, which was epic. The first night was pretty wet, but the second night after the skating was a clear sky. It was beautiful. The camping was super fun. Had a bit of a party. It was great. Something that was awesome about the Dirt Farm Freeride was the number of brands that actually sponsored the event. There were so many sponsors. I was talking to Mark, who ran the event, and he was saying they had like 140 items that were given to him to give away at the event, which was just amazing. They had 150 riders registered, but I think on the day there was probably like 75 or so that actually showed up to skate. I think a lot of people were put off by the rain, which is fair enough, but yeah, so there was just like so many different prizes for everyone. I actually want a set of wheels. Yeah, I got these Easy Hogs from the raffle, which was pretty awesome, so stoked on that. And Incredimation was there filming, and so he's actually selling clips. If you were there and you were skating and you're interested in getting some really high quality videos of you skating, you can hit up Incredimation. He should have videos of most people that were there, and you can purchase them for your own use. Overall, I'd say the event was a huge success. Everyone that was there had a great time. It was a bit cold, it was a bit wet, but you know, it was just a great way to kick off this year's skate season, and it was super fun, and supposedly it's going to happen again next year, so hopefully we'll see you there. All right, speaking of events, there's a bunch of events coming up the next month or so. I know the first thing is next weekend in Ohio. If you're in Ohio, there's the Sweaty Palms. I think it's like a slide jam bit event. That's April 8th. If you're interested in that, if you're in the Ohio kind of area, hit up Ohio Downhill Skate on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description. And yeah, it looks like super fun. I can't make it out to that, but it does look like a pretty good time. The next big one would be Maryhill. Maryhill is the end of April. I think registration may still be open. There may still be spots if you're trying to go to Maryhill for the spring freeride. That's going to be super cool. Next big event would be Wood Booger. This is going to be in Southern Virginia, and it's going to be the end of May 20th to 21st. That's going to be a big freeride. Looks like a sick road. Probably a higher skill level required for that one, but that's going to be really cool. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Giant's Head has actually been announced, so I think they've had a 2, 3, maybe 4-year hiatus of Giant's Head. Giant's Head's a huge event in Canada, out of Vancouver. They've just announced that they're going to be having the event in June. It's going to be June 17th to 18th, just a weekend. You can head over to the Giant's Head Freeride Instagram page. They've got all the information there. Registration's opening April 14th. That's going to be awesome. I'm really hoping that I can make it to Giant's Head. It's been a dream since I was a kid that's going to happen, so that's pretty exciting. Another event that's kind of going on pretty soon is the virtual slide jam. This was something that some guys put together a few years back during COVID when all the events were sort of cancelled in person. These guys had the idea of doing a virtual slide jam where you could submit videos of you doing slides, tricks, whatever, put their hashtag on it. They took them all together and they sort of put together a compilation edit making like a virtual slide jam, which is a pretty cool idea. I think they're trying to put it together again this year, so if you want to check out their Instagram page, all the information's there. They've got a YouTube sort of trailer advertising the event, and I think that's going to go from about May 15th through to June 18th. I think at the moment they're trying to get sponsors together and that kind of stuff, but that's a pretty cool idea to sort of get the wider internet community of skaters together. So yeah, check that one out on Instagram as well. Alright, I thought I'd talk a little bit about some gear as well. So Rocket Boards just had their 10-year anniversary, which was pretty cool, and they've done like a whole lineup of boards. I don't know if it's every board they have, but it's a good number of boards. They've done a new graphic and put out all the graphics sort of matching with their 10-year anniversary edition, which is pretty awesome. So to see a company like Rocket making it to 10 years and now being like kind of one of the main big downhill brands out there, that's pretty sick. So yeah, 10 years to Rocket is pretty cool. I haven't seen too much new in the last few months with wheels. Probably the one thing to mention would be 88 wheel, the Mavericks. They've actually just done a new formula, so they have a new version of the race wheel is their Maverick. They're no longer yellow, they're white, which is, I don't know, white's cool, but I don't know, I kind of like was digging the yellow wheels for racing, but it'll be interesting to see if those wheels hold up against the other race wheels as we sort of enter the race season now. Trucks, like something's happening in the trucks market. It's getting kind of crazy out there. There's a whole bunch of new truck companies popping up and like all sort of random geometry designs coming out. We've got just over the last few months, got Robot Oblivion coming out of New Zealand. I've got a set of those. Zealous just came out with their new slalom trucks. Scythe had those crazy looking slalom trucks come out, which is supposed to be pretty good. And Valkyrie has their single bushing truck design. So people are getting crazy with the truck designs, the geometry, the precision trucks. I think it's pretty cool. It's a good sign that the scene is thriving, because precision trucks is sort of the most expensive part of your setup. And to have this many people starting new companies or trying new things in that specific area is kind of a good sign that downhill's doing pretty well. So that's pretty cool. Something else that isn't necessarily super new, but it's kind of cool is the skate themed podcasts. There's a few out there. Get That has probably been the one that's going longest, so that's really cool. And something Jack said in one of the more recent podcasts on Get That is kind of part of what inspired me to actually commit to this idea, was about like skaters should be starting to put out more skate related but not skate content. So like skate adjacent content, I guess you could say. And I already sort of had the idea for these videos, and that kind of, was a bit more motivation to sit down and actually do this in an organized way. So shout out to Get That for that. If you don't know what Get That is, it's some guys down in Australia. They started like a clothing brand to be sort of skate adjacent. They drop sick videos as like raw runs and edits as well, and they have their podcast talking about skating. So yeah, another podcast that's pretty new. I don't know when they started, but it's sort of more over the winter, pretty recent. It's 35 All Grip. They're based in North Carolina. I just watched a week or two ago Ed Garner's episode, which was pretty entertaining, but they're sort of more of like a small vibe podcast. Mostly the guys that are based down in NC or that sort of East Coast area, and you can learn a lot of cool stories by listening to them. So shout out to those guys as well. The podcast it's really cool. I guess last thing for this week in downhill was Diego Poncelet just dropped a crazy run. I think it's actually not on his YouTube channel, but on one called Mountain Media. Put the link in the description. But it was just a crazy fast raw run out in Spain, and he hits 115 kilometers an hour, that's very quick. So it's pretty cool to see stuff like that going on. I think he's testing out these speed suits, but if you haven't watched it, that's definitely worth a watch. That's significantly faster than most of us are ever going to go on a skateboard. So pretty epic. But yeah, that was this week in downhill. Well, the last 3 months in downhill. Obviously I probably missed tons of stuff. If there's other stuff that happened this week, like chuck it in the comments. Let's all get a conversation going. That would be really cool. If you have stuff planned for next week, or you've got stuff coming up like events or things like that you would want me to speak about next week or the week after or whatever, hit me up on Instagram, send me a message, post it in the comments. I would love for this to sort of start becoming a real community thing and a hub for people to come to learn about what's going on in downhill. Yeah, thanks for watching.